Taurus.
Hey, life is good, eh?
I know what you mean.
Except when you have to manage group employees.
Hi, my name's Ashley, but it's spelled A-S-H-L-E-I-G-H, so my family calls me Lee.
And my name's Vinome, but it's spelled Venom. You can pronounce it Vinome.
I've been a manager for years now, and when I first heard about the PHP formula, I'm sure I was a little skeptical. Thought it was like a magical technique or something.
I know. But then I read about all the great problems you can solve in the workplace. I thought, OMG.
Now we use PHP all the time. It has really changed my life.
We swear, our dad did not pay us for this testimonial. Dad, can I have a phone?
PHP is a way, I believe, that can take care of any management problem in general. I had handed this out to a bunch of you a while ago. I brought some extra copies if you want. This is a sampler edition of 4 chapters of a book that's out right now digitally. I'll give you a little push. And it's coming out in bookstores in around December. But PHP stands for Purity, Humility, and Patience. It sounds corny, sounds touchy-feely. I like the Willie Nelson line in the song that says, "It ain't that I'm wiser, it's just that I've spent more years with my back to the wall." I heard him talking about Kenny Chesney before. I'm sure Willie Nelson knows. Kenny Chesney probably has a line in a song like that too. But about 7 years ago, I was in a hotel room in Philadelphia thinking, like, what is it that really goes into solving a sticky manager issue with employees? And came up with these 3 things, that if we use purity, which is like an enthusiastic honesty, and humility, and then patience, we can take care of absolutely any employee issue. Like, what would be an example of an employee issue, for instance?
Well, the hardest one is to sit down with somebody with personal hygiene.
With a personal hygiene
It was
problem.
a fun one.
Excellent.
But you can do it well.
Anybody else wanted to volunteer?
Tardiness, lateness?
Tardiness, lateness, one of the most popular ones. Would you agree that one of the stickiest is right out of, yes?
Why don't you have an employee, just with a bad attitude?
With a bad attitude in general, right?
Bad attitude.
And when you bring up that in courts, they don't like to hear attitude. They always say, well, what do you mean, bad attitude? So define it. So I'm going to take what I consider to be the granddaddy of sticky issues right out of your playbook, a personal odor issue. How would we start this? How do we start this conversation with somebody? Good question. The fact is, most of us, maybe not you and me necessarily, but most of us don't. We simply...
Role will also give you the balance you need as a manager, as you heard from Joyce.
My wife tells me to stop singing in church.
Here we go. Ready? Catherine, you going to lead us?
Yeah.
Caroline, got one in front of you?
Yep.
I no longer get stressed out. I now manage okay. Everybody go like this for okay. I found the secret to help me out. There's a hand gesture. I don't want you to be left out. Forfeits, hiring, firing, delegation, or conflicts of all types. Count with your fingers. 1, 2, 3, PHP at the management game. Good job, everybody. Okay.
Not Tim, I know you wrote that.
Yeah, no, that's a famous song. Okay, so thank you for being here, everyone. And we have some questions on the whiteboard that we may want to address. So why don't we start with them? And then what I thought we would do was go into some of the actual cases from the book there. This is the sampler edition. This is the book, which will be out in hard copy in bookstores around Christmas time, Hanukkah time, but it's available digitally now. So why don't we just take a look at the whiteboard? Anybody have any thoughts on that they'd like to jump into?
I do.
Shoot.
I think we should start with the first one.
Now, your management experience, You lead a crew at grassroots campaigns in Boston, correct?
I do.
Caroline, okay.
Yes. I think managers are probably falling short in the area that they don't have personal connection with the people that they're managing. At grassroots campaigns, we all have to do the same work. Even the directors above me, we all are involved with the same work, and so there isn't this superiority over the people that you're managing. It's more of like this understanding, and I think that there's a higher respect for those people. People listen to you better because there isn't that superiority, no power trips.
Interesting. The question was, managers are probably falling short in what area, and Caroline said personal connection with people that we're managing. What I'm hearing you say also that it's good for a supervisor to roll up their sleeves and get out there and work with the crew. Could be some downsides to that as well. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with her. I think that when communication, proper communication, where it's accepted on both parts, but one of my skills I thought was a positivism. I never asked anyone to do something that I didn't know how to do. Because how can I judge that person? I may not do that, or I probably wouldn't do that on an everyday basis. But if that person's performing that task, I need to know all the processes within the task so I can judge that person if they're doing it properly, or to see if it can be fixed, or if it's actually doing fine.
I agree. I think one of the key words that Richard said was knowing how to do the job. What's it called?
Definitely agree. Always need to put yourself in their shoes and always find the gems before the opportunities. Which we need to people are in.
Downsides? Further thoughts? One of the I guess analogies that I use is if you own a bar, you have to know how to make every kind of drink. And it's a thought provoker because it would be nice if you did at the same time. If you really knew how to make every kind of drink, you probably wouldn't know all about all the jobs in your bar or restaurant.
I think part of it too, knowing the job and what it requires is also good for a manager to know, because then they can know what person has the skill set that probably addresses them. So if you have an understanding, if you've done those types of tasks, and even your own, recognize your own shortcomings, knowing, what it takes to do this task, then enables you to put the best person in that position to accomplish it.
And that's, let me introduce your son. Who's that over here?
Owen.
Owen, okay? And I would encourage everyone, make it look like we're enjoying the food, the muffins and the croissants and all that other good stuff. So can somebody else?
Most managers are terrified that, Gina, what are you terrified as? Being a manager.
I don't really know, Caroline. I'm thinking about it, and sometimes maybe acceptance of what you need to say and how you're going to do it, because the job just needs to get done. And sometimes it's just that acceptance of how the routine is going to follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrified that, I know that's a tough one.
You guys will be a manager. Well, as a manager, I'm terrified of sharks, the dark, and bad dreams.
I almost think that we don't admit what we're really terrified of. Your water's coming, by the way. That we don't admit it. I think we keep a lot inside.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that we're afraid of screwing up. I think we're constantly, I, as a manager, feel like I'm in a minority constantly. I'm making the right decision and I'm doing the right thing. And only, I think, after years of real seasoning and you're back against the wall, do you think, maybe I'm really doing the right thing here.
Especially because you second guess yourself sometimes too, the way that you handle the situation, and you look for other feedback or a mentor or somebody that just started off with and say, how could I have done this better? But not every manager does that either, with feedback, so.
I think what I might be terrified more in the larger corporate world is budget restrictions.
Alex, a video photographer, if you have anything to say, feel free to jump in as well.
I've never managed anything. There's probably a good reason that I haven't. That's it.
Okay.
Number 4.
Number 4. Can you read that out loud?
Some managers are even afraid of what their employees will do or say. Like, Catherine?
Now, Catherine's coming at it really from a volunteer perspective, right? High school and stuff. She just graduated high school. We have a youth perspective in here too.
Well, from my youth perspective, I would say, I don't really believe that I am a manager, but I have, helped my peers and been a leader. But I think that I am usually afraid of their reaction if I have to say, like, work harder, because I get very intense, and if they're not doing the best they can, I get upset and frustrated, and I'll tell them like it is.
I think it's...
Now, government can make up their mind as to fix our economic problem.
What is your occupation?
I do adventure tours in Costa Rica.
Favorite color?
Blue. No, red. Green.
Favorite food?
Lobster.
Most people, what would you say most people who manage other people have no idea how to what?
How to manage people. Most people are afraid to tell people what needs to be done. They beat around the bush too much. They don't get to the point. They waste a lot of time, and they send mixed messages.
What is your name? And what do you do?
I own Life is Rough. It's an all-natural dog biscuit business.
What's your favorite color?
Green.
Me too. Favorite food? And so, what would you say that most managers are terrified of?
I think that they're going to be held hostage by their employees, and they're not going to be able, they're going to lose control.
So, what's your name?
Denise Lotier.
And what do you do?
I'm an accountant in West Hampton.
Favorite color? Favorite food? What problem would you like to fix this year?
As far as my business goes,
Yep.
I would like to fix the problem of non-payment. I have a lot of issues in that area since 3 years ago when the economy crashed. It's very difficult for me to approach our clients and ask for money.
What is your name?
Joyce Gardner.
And what do you do?
I own Inspired Marketing Strategies, a marketing company.
In terms of that company and what you do there, what would you say that most managers are probably falling short in?
I think that most managers probably fall short in giving positive reinforcement to people. They're quick to criticize, and they don't, balance it out. They don't sandwich the you're good at it with the criticism, something else they're good at.
We heard Chris talk about personality, one of the more challenging parts of communicating with people. Geraldine referred to a nervous economic climate. The H in PHP, humility, can be used here. PHP managers humbly accept the fact of living without certainty. Only our egos wish to control everything and everyone. Fred talked about employees beating around the bush and not getting to the point. Well, here's where the last P in the PHP formula becomes integral. Patience. It is truly a virtue which takes us very far. Kim said a potential fear of managers is being held hostage, of losing control. Relying on your inner sense and accessing it using PHP is your built-in control mechanism. It works every time. Denise had an interesting dilemma. She said that non-payment by clients is a challenge in this tough economy. Let's try using PHP, purity, humility, and patience, and let's certainly not be demanding, threatening, or any of that. Let's try being honest and humble. Something like, it's tough for all of us these days. We understand. And then patiently, how can we work this out? Tim McHeffey calls this tossing them the football. And remember also, the person who is asking the questions is always in control of the situation. This control